I'm excited to talk about the application management feature date. When I say application management, what I mean is the steps that are involved in deciding and approving who gets access to an application and then provisioning steps based on the person and the role. How do you provision their access? That's application management to us. It's by far the most common request we handle here at Fixify. And it's one of those sneaky problems because you're thinking to yourself, hey, applications had APIs. You connect to an API, you fire off a request, and automation happens. It's automagical. Yes, but first, not all applications have APIs. Second, then you remember, oh, well, the marketing department wants access granted in this way. The sales department wants access reviewed before granting, and then they want people provisioned to certain roles. And then you realize engineering doesn't want you involved in provisioning or access at all. Okay, that's some nuance we have to deal with. Then you're like, oh, remember that time I discovered an application because it came through in a ticket? I didn't even know we had that application. How could I determine if someone should get approved for the application? And then what are the steps to take? So you've got this discovery problem. The other thing that we really tried to emphasize with the feature is that we want to embrace the differences of each enterprise instead of having users and customers have to conform to how the product was built. So I'm really just excited to show you how we've done that here today. All right, so we're in the application management screen. This is the matrix of all the applications that we've discovered in your environment. I want to first talk about discovery. Discovery is a pretty canonical problem of how do you not just find the applications, but keep your list of applications up to date. There's one obvious way to discover applications, and that's looking at Microsoft Entra or Okta. And then there's another way that's a little harder, but is equally, if not more valuable, and that's looking at the tickets in Slack messages and finding references to applications and extracting those out for review. So to discover applications, you can click this button and you can slurp in Okta or you can look at 60 days of data. Once you've done that, going forward, all tickets and messages are being scanned and looked at by our different AI agents to extract and identify applications to surface. So what we have here is actually a ticket that came in. This is a new application that's been discovered. And you can see right here, it's actually 1Password. And because 1Password is a known application to the product, you get the nice icon and things like that. Reviewing and deciding if 1Password is an application you want to reference within your application management interface is pretty easy. You can come in here and you say, okay, well, that's the ticket that caused it, create that references 1Password. You can tell us it's not an application, we'll never show it to you again. Or, hey, it is an application. And you can go ahead and configure it. So you could say it's going to show up as 1Pass if people type it out like that. And you could start to say, hey, it should be granted by default, set up a bunch of different policies. So I'm going to go ahead and save this right here. And now I've got 1Password and I can go see the ticket that was associated or see the 61 tickets associated with the different applications. We have an audit trail here, which is pretty cool. So when you come in here, provenance is really important when you're using different automated systems. So knowing how it was discovered, what caused the discovery, and then also, especially for security companies or companies that are very compliance sensitive, knowing any changes to the application table itself, you have all of that here. You can see that the application was discovered from request data, it was reviewed, and there were alternative names. So any change is tracked, and that's just a value add to knowing and be able to manage this more effectively as a customer. All right, so we've got a new app, 1Password, and now we want to set it up, get it configured so that automation takes over and things are happening. There's a couple things we're going to do. First, we're going to look at the existing access policies. So you can come in here and there's a couple defaults, but you can see here manager approval GitHub. This is actually not a default. I created this one. This is basically saying, hey, for GitHub, there's a management approval process that's very specific to GitHub. You can say, hey, this is just whoever owns the application is going to approve it. No approval is necessary. You can create your own. So for each one of these, you can decide what you want to do or reuse different policies. So you'd set this one up. Let's go ahead and say app owner approval. And I'm going to go ahead and say that the approvers are going to be me. And that's one way you can set this up. The other way is equally interesting, which is writing out an access policy document. So if I wanted to see this policy, manage approval GitHub, we'd go here and then open this guy up. And here you have it. It's plain English, just a set of bullets. And the cool thing is that our automation took that natural language and turned it into a plan where you can actually see that it's mapping the different steps to API calls we do that are going to then actually feed the automation so that the right things happen at the right time. So that's application management. It is by far the highest volume request we see across customers. It's also an interesting stumbling block because there's so much nuance once you start digging into the applications. And we found it can be a real struggle to get automation going because those nuances, especially in enterprises, represent risk. And so we believe that the feature is there to help you not only adopt AI, adopt automation, but be confident in its use and be able to express what you want to have happen and know that that's what's going to happen. So I encourage you to check out the blog. And if you want to see more, schedule some time with us.